Hello and welcome to the MUS136 Week 1 lecture, Online Learning in the Time of COVID-19. In this lecture I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go over two main parts of the packet. The first is performing two-part music, and the second is dictating two-part music to prepare you for your dictation assignment. So I'm going to read this first paragraph and then weigh in a little bit on the content. While performing duets with others can be a satisfying musical experience in its own right, we will use this activity to enhance our peripheral listening, which will nurture the skills necessary for harmonic dictation. These listening skills are the natural extension of what we've already done thus far in our progression from practice technique 1 to practice technique 3 to practice technique 4/intervals to practice technique 5, harmonic singing, also known as the inversion sequential. On the following pages are some two-part excerpts taken from earlier packets. Practice them daily, both as duets with other singers and as singing plays accompanying yourself at the keyboard. So the two main takeaways are, number one, performing duets is fun, especially when other people are around. We're going to talk about how to do that when you can't be in the same room with other people. And then the second part is these skills are really going to help us as we go into harmonic dictation later in the term. So the next paragraph here, singing two-part music with others. When singing duets with others, adjust the balance knob of your aural attention like practice technique 4, focusing on both voices at once and also one part to the exclusion of the other. Ultimately, you should be able to listen to the excerpt as an audience member would hear it, not orally prioritizing your voice alone, your part alone rather. Rehearse intonation thoroughly, understanding the sound of each scale degree, as well as the intervals they create, using a keyboard or tuner app as a reference to perfect your intonation. Make sure you're able to perform the rhythm of your part accurately while understanding the rhythm of the other part. What that means is just make sure that you can understand the rhythm the other person's playing, and that doesn't mess up the rhythm that you're performing, is another way of saying that. Perform the composite rhythm of both parts in takadimi, making sure all subdivisions accurately fit in the grid, especially if the excerpt contains syncopation. So the obvious question you may have before we begin, and I'm going to go through this with a keyboard in a moment, but the obvious question is, how are we going to do this when we can't perform with other people in the room, which is what we would normally be doing if we weren't in this COVID-19 crisis? And for that, I offer a few suggestions. The first and the most tried and true and standard way is to do singing plays at the keyboard. If you do not have a keyboard where you're staying in spring term, I've noticed a lot of students around the School of Music use like a keyboard app on their device. You can even perform with that if your thumbs are really good at it. Also, if you're in Eugene, you can check out getting access to the computer lab. If you're taking keyboarding skills, you probably know about this. Then there are some other ways of performing duos. Every year during this week, I have students ask me, if I play guitar, can I do this with guitar? Or if you play an instrument that doesn't require that instrument being in your mouth, then the answer is yes, that's totally fine. You can do this on guitar or cello or harp or whatever. The idea is that you want to be able to sing your part while listening to the other part, and then to be able to toggle aurally between those voices while performing. So there's numerous ways to achieve that. So the first one we mentioned is sing and play at the keyboard. The second one is with an instrument that isn't the keyboard. I will say one thing about that: you're going to be in better shape if you play an instrument that is a fixed pitch instrument, like a fretted instrument or a harp or something like that. String instruments, it's good, but you also have to make sure that you're playing super in tune on the instrument as well. And then there's also some sort of technology-enhanced ways of doing this. You guys probably know about the app Acapella. You probably have seen friends of yours post Instagram or Facebook posts using Acapella. You can recognize it because it sort of has that Brady Bunch look where there's like different videos happening simultaneously. That app is free for excerpts under 30 seconds, which most of the singing content for this week, I think probably all of it, if you play it at a reasonable tempo, would be fine. So you can check out Acapella for performing duets. A less technologically savvy, but no less effective way of doing this is just to make a recording of yourself with your device, say on voice memos or voice recorder, whatever you have on your device, and then play the other part with yourself in real time. So those are 4 ways that I can think of. There's probably other ways of achieving this objective, but the idea is that you're performing one part, hearing another part being performed. Okay, so I'm going to go through this performing two-part music while using the keyboard, otherwise known as sing and play. So I'm going to pick an excerpt from the packet. I'm going to pick 1411, this Bach chorale, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do this as a sing and play. When performing two-part music as a sing and play, use the same approach as described above. This activity can be very challenging for some, requiring consistent daily practice. While we understand this is not a keyboard performance class, the listening skills gained from this activity far outweigh the challenge you may encounter in practicing it. For students new to this activity, we offer the following suggestions, and that is, we're going to go through this, how to actually do this. But I will say about the consistent practice, you do not want to cram your sing and plays the evening before or the day that your singing video is due. It's not going to be a very psychologically pleasant experience for you. The idea is start practicing this now, follow these guidelines, do it slowly, make sure that you can play it for your singing video. Okay, so the first part is, the first step is to sing one of the parts alone, with voice alone, only using keyboard for reference, pitch, or chord. So this one's in D major, so I'm going to play a D major chord. I'm going to perform the upper part alone. I'm going to give a second, I'm actually going to auralize this. I'd like you to do it too I'm actually going to auralize while I conduct. So let's go ahead and conduct. You can auralize it as well. Okay, cool. So now we're going to perform it. We're going to sing it without the aid of the keyboard. I'll give you the reference pitch again in case your auralization drifted. Okay, so here we are. 2 beats, then we sing. Sing along with me. 1, 2. So, do, ti, la, so, re, mi, fa, mi, fa, re, do. Okay, then the next step is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to play along with it. I will say that if your reading of it right now had a lot of mistakes in it or something like that, just pause it, scrub back, auralize it some more, play along, make sure that it's close to me. There might be little pitch things because I may not have been singing it perfectly in tune because I'm reading it as well. It's totally fine. The next thing is step 2. Sing the same part while playing the same part in unison with the keyboard, using a tuner metronome if necessary. I'll go ahead and tap my foot. It'll be a human metronome. I should have thought of that before, but here we are. I realized my foot tapping was super annoying, so I grabbed a metronome. So we are going to recommence with the metronome this time. I'm going to put the metronome on 70. We're going to sing the upper part with the metronome and playing, just to make sure we're in tune and in time. I think you guys are fine, but here's another reference chord. Here we are. 1, 2. So, do, ti, la, so, re, mi, fa, re, do. Again, if you had any issues with that in terms of wrong pitches or rhythms, put it on pause, practice it, make sure you can sing it in unison with that recording. Here we are, moving on to the next step. We're going to do the same thing but for the lower voice. So the lower voice starts on so. Let's all sing so. So. All right, I'm going to give you guys a second to auralize, conduct, put it on pause. I'm going to do the same really quickly, and let's perform it together. 1, 2. So, fa, mi, fa, so, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, so. Do, ti, la, do, ti, re, do, so, do. All right, again, if you had issues, put it on pause, practice it, make sure that you are matching up. All right. Here we are, the same thing with a metronome this time, just to correct intonation and rhythm. 1, 2, so, fa, mi, fa, so, do, ti, do, ti, do, so, do, ti, la, Again, same thing, if it's not lined up, practice it and then scrub it back and practice, make sure you can perform it so that it's accurate. Okay, now the fourth step rather, this is the part you're going to want to really spend time with, because this is where the auralization and this is where this kind of the inner ear work happens in terms of the musicianship, like tuning the intervals accurately, the being able to listen to one part or listen to the other part that you're not performing, or focusing on the part that you are performing. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to go on step 4. I'm going to play the lower voice and sing the upper voice. I'm going to go really slowly, and because I'm sort of reading this, if there's things that I'm not happy with, things that are out of tune, or things I think I'm not auralizing accurately, I'm actually going to stop and practice that. So your practicing isn't going to look like mine, but I'll just do it as sort of a model. Okay, so I'm going to really quickly auralize the first part, and then I'm going to go pitch by pitch and make sure that it's all kind of lined up. So here we are. So, do, so like right there, actually that minor 7th, or I'm sorry, not minor 7th, major 9th. So, do, ti, la, so, re. My re was a little bit flat at the beginning. The major 9th is a dissonant interval, so I'm actually just going to make sure I really hear that accurately. Re. See, I'm singing a little bit flat. Re, re, mi, re. And I had to kind of adjust for that 5th as well, so I'll practice that. I'll auralize it first. Re. And then I'll go from where I stopped, the next phrase. So it's going to be on mi, 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 fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, re, do. And I may spend a ton of time doing this and just making sure I'm really hearing it. As you can see, I had some things I needed to pitch intonation-wise. Again, I'm reading it, so you're going to be reading it too. This is the process. Just sort of go slowly and do that. You'll do the same thing and then switch parts. I'm actually going to skip ahead just for a second. Do the same thing and switch parts, okay? So now I'm going to sing the lower part while I play the upper part. So the first pitch is so, 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 fa, mi, re, mi, fa, so. Good. I'm gonna actually just make sure that's really, really in tune there for the 10th there. I'm gonna do it again. Here we are. So, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, so. Just make sure it's really in tune. I'll listen to each part going on. Do, ti, do, re, mi, re. It's the perfect intervals today while I'm playing it. The perfect intervals and then the dissonant intervals that I'm kind of struggling with. The consonants seem to be a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and practice that. Here we are. Do, ti, do, re, mi, re, do. Sorry, I skipped parts there. Do, ti, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, do, do, so. Going on. Do, ti, la, so, la, do, ti, re, ti. Making sure that my T is in tune and then my re is lined up with the keyboard. Ti, re, do, so, do. Alright, so that was kind of my truncated version of doing this. Then you're just going to follow the other parts of step 4 and 5, and that is just practice this, start at a tempo that you can play it, and then just really, really slowly ratchet it up until it's accurate. And that is what you're going to do for the performing the duets assignments. Just again, from the beginning, you have 4 different ways of doing this. You have the sing and play, which I sort of demonstrated right now, except I didn't take the time to work it up for those steps because of time, but you can do that on your own. So there's a sing and play with the keyboard. There's a sing and play with a mobile app, like a keyboard app. where you can actually play the keyboard while singing. There's also the you can play an instrument like a guitar or a cello or something like that. You can also do the voice memos and record with yourself. And you can also use a program like Acapella to accomplish this. And actually, just to demonstrate really quickly, we're kind of running short on time, but I'd like to do this. I'd like to just show you what the voice memo would look like, because it's really quite easy. And I'll just demonstrate it really quickly. And so when you're doing this, you're going to want to make sure to give a count off for yourself so you know when to come in. So here we are. I'm going to perform the upper part first. So, do, I'm sorry, I needed to count myself off. Let me do that again. 1, 2. So, do, ti, la, so, re, mi, fa, re, do. All right. You're not going to be able to hear this very loudly, but I'm going to go ahead and play it. And you hear the count off, and I'm going to sing the lower part. Here we are. 1, 2. So, fa, mi, fa, so, do, ti, do, re, do, ti, do, so. So it'll just look like that, and that's a perfectly acceptable way to turn in your duet performance. You'll probably want to plug this into an external. Well, I could actually do that, but I don't want to take the time right now. But you plug it into an external sound source so that the balance is okay, and that will work for your duet. Okay, enjoy performing the duets this week.